with this little one here. This is my threesome hunting companion, girlfriend, partner in crime, use your choice of words. Anyway, she's been just killing it lately. She's been setting up like tons of like threesome dates, threesome opportunities for us, that kind of stuff. It's something we've been doing for a couple years. At first we were pretty bad at it, then we got pretty good, and then we were both traveling for a while, so we weren't together that much, or as much. And then now we've been, in the same city, and we've been able to go kind of full bore. So I'm going to have her actually share some of her thoughts from the female perspective on the whole threesome thing, both in terms of how to have the relationship with your girlfriends that makes it conducive, and makes it okay, and makes the girl want to do that, and then also the specific tactics that we've employed over the years, what's worked, what hasn't, that kind of stuff. And I thought it'd be really interesting. I've talked briefly about threesomes in a couple of contexts, but I've never really done it fully with the girl involved and from her perspective, so I thought I'd share that with you guys today. So you could tell us a little bit about how a good relationship works for a threesome and what the whole thing is like from your perspective or from a girl's point of view, and then we can get into tactics kind of later. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that what you might find with your girlfriend or your significant other is that she might not be totally receptive to the idea at first. There's a lot of sort of stigma that goes along with it, and so you might have to slowly build the idea in her head. And you can do that in a variety of ways, but the most important thing to do throughout the entire build-up is to essentially make her, and it's not a manipulative thing, but give her the idea, because it's true, that this is about both of you, and it's about her pleasure as well as yours. Because any girl who thinks that it's just about the guy getting off and seeing two girls together, and that it's not about his girlfriend, is not going to want to do it. One thing I also think would be really great to get your girlfriend or your girl into it is to give examples of other girls not necessarily girls you've dated, but other maybe female friends, or just examples of girls who maybe didn't think that they liked women at all, and then they had their first experience and really liked it and really enjoyed it, because that will make her feel like not a freak. It'll also make her feel like she might actually get to the point where she would like doing it. So building up slowly to it is one of the best things to do, and making it about both of you and not just the guy. I know you've mentioned this too, and I think it's a good idea watching some kind of pornography together, maybe reading erotica that involves two girls and one guy, and that can get a girl really turned on and really, really into it. It's something that I think as a guy you'll have to be patient with at first, but the payoff, so to speak, is really good, and it's worth it. So if you're willing to put in the effort and the time, you can get your girlfriend on board, and then it's something, if you're already going out and gaming and it's something you want to keep doing even when you have a girlfriend, then it's something you end up having to do, you can do with your girlfriend, and it makes it really fun and exciting, and you have a partner in it. And if she gets good at game, then she's an equal predator with you.
Equal predator, I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. What were some of, not to get like too super personal, but what were some of the issues that you had or we had in terms of like emotionally getting through it, or what are the hangups that guys are going to run into with their girlfriend? What are the major objections they're going to get, and what's your take on them?
Okay. First of all, one of the things is purely physical. As a woman, even though I know what I like and how to pleasure myself, I was not very confident that I could make another girl feel good. And so I was pretty nervous about what to do with a girl once I had her there. Like, I knew what I would like to have done to me, but I didn't know if I could transfer that to someone of the same sex. The other thing was that I was afraid that, this is sort of hard to explain, that I would be shamed for doing it, that if I were out in public and someone saw me trying to kiss a girl or kissing a girl, that they would think, oh, I'm a lesbian, and even though I'm not, and not that that would be a big deal anyway, but I felt that stigma already attached to me. So I've actually never encountered that reaction at all. I've had sort of the no thanks, like not interested, but not even that negative. So not knowing how to necessarily please a girl, having this sort of shame upon me for doing it. And then the other thing, and I think this would be a fear of a lot of women, is that it's something for their guy and not something for them, and therein lies the jealousy issue, that you start feeling envious of this other girl, even though she's kind of a guest star in your relationship, and your relationship's what's most important. But sometimes you get blinded by what's going on in the field and the other girl, and you can feel threatened by her. And I think that would probably be the issue the biggest issue that most girls would encounter, and that would be more like the thing about not knowing how to please a girl or feeling the shame. Those are the things you get over faster, but the other thing might take more work to get over.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, what you said about her being, what'd you say, like the co-star, not the main star?
Right, I said guest star.
Guest star, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, not even co-star, guest star.
Guest star.
Brief cameo in your relationship.
Yeah.
Could be insignificant, character. Small, ant-like. I'm sorry, no.
I didn't say that.
But no, the point I'm making is that it should be about you and your girlfriend first, and about the other girl second. Because if the girl ever gets the impression that she's like not enough, or like you would rather be with the other girl than her, that's when you're gonna get those issues. As long as your girl really knows that it's about her and that she comes first, you're gonna do much, much, much better in terms of the jealousy, and that's absolutely critical, because that's the major issue you're gonna have. That's gonna either keep this from happening, or that's gonna make it happen but be like a royal pain in the ass for you down the road, and like to the point that there's a lot of drama and bullshit surrounding it. So that's absolutely critical. What advice would you give guys as far as helping their girls get over the jealousy stuff?
Lots of compliments. No, I mean, actually reiterating, how much you care about her and how beautiful she is, how sexy she is, and also explaining to her that this other person who's coming into your relationship and guest starring is only an enhancement and not a permanent player, not someone who is going to is going to impact your lives. She's there to have fun with you and to enhance your sexual relationship. And I think women need to hear things again and again and again. And so you could say it forever, and that's probably what you'll have to do. But just always keep reassuring her that she's the one that you're actually with, and this other girl is just a guest star in your fun. And being attentive to her during the threesome is important.
So I was about to say.
Right.
During the threesome, and also the build up to the threesome too.
Right. So if you're on a date, or if you're meeting a girl out at a bar, whatever it is, even if it's online, right? Feeling like making your girl a part of it, participating not just physically but verbally, everything, and that will also help. You don't have to, when you're in the threesome, like start timing, like, okay, I'm spending 20 seconds on my girl, 20 seconds on the other girl, right? You don't have to do that, but you should try to include your girl with the other girl and you as much as possible in the bedroom. Sure.
Speaking to an experience we had, which is that guys want to have sex pretty much. They see a girl, she's either hot or not, would fuck, would not fuck, right? For a girl, it's much more of an experiential thing. Like when a girl meets a guy, she kind of knows like he's maybe in the attractive realm early on, but she hasn't made a strong decision one way or another. Has not really decided, hasn't decided until she gets to know his personality and they interact a bit. It's the same thing with a girl and a girl. So one thing that I ran into early on is, as like a pickup artist with decent game, I would pick up the girl and do almost all the work, and then I'd like hand her over, so to speak, like here the girl is, and the girls would have no chemistry with each other. First of all, she would have very little chemistry with the girl because she hadn't gotten to know her. She'd be like, well, this is just like a piece of flesh laid before me, so to speak. And the girl would also have no chemistry with her because she hadn't actually had that interaction. So it's very important, especially that the girls have a lot of interaction back and forth during. In fact, most of the time when we've pulled, you've interacted more with the girl than I have. Now, there are certain parts that I have to do. For example, I have to do enough to show that I'm an alpha male and I'm a leader. A lot of times logistics, it helps if I handle that. A lot of the escalation, it helps if I handle that. But most of the interaction is between the girls because that's where a lot of like the personality determination is going to be. And it's also like safer. Like the girls can get away with a lot more with each other without risking the set. Whereas as a guy, you're like you're extra sexy creepy, so to speak. Like you're the one who's potentially creepy. You're also the one that's potentially like the biggest, in my mind at least, my arrogant mind, the biggest payoff. I like to think that about myself. But in any case, the point is you're the more polarizing one. I think the girl's less polarizing than you. And so because in game, you don't need emotional spikes the whole time. You only need to be interacting as a guy periodically. You don't need to be continually involved throughout the entire process. Although you do need to be attentive and there, and you do need to carry it through and just be a part of it, but you don't have to be the driving force the whole time is what I'm basically saying.
Yeah, I guess just to add to that I think that's probably one of the biggest issues is that men and women don't always understand how the other gets attracted to someone. And it's true. It's for men and women. I need to talk to them. And I've had lots of situations where I have seen a girl who I think is attractive or I think is pretty, and then I talk to her and interact with her, and I'm just not into it anymore. Or the opposite has happened. I'm not saying I'm, chasing after unattractive girls, but girls who maybe I didn't think were my type or I wasn't sure about, and then we have this amazing chemistry. And I think a lot of times that's what, like when we had our, our best, kind of like that surprise, right? But I can point out a girl who I think is attractive, but it really does depend on the interaction after that. And I think as a guy, you'll have to be patient with your girl and realize that like she needs that time to do that in order for something to go down, because otherwise we just don't get turned on in the same way you guys do. So that'd be kind of nice though if we could.
Maybe just
yeah. Like, oh yes.
You're telling me. No, I'm kidding.
You're telling me there's a chance.
You're telling me no, not that there's a chance. You're telling me how nice it would be.
Oh yes.
So can you fill us in quickly about like the process that we went through in terms of getting good at this and figuring it out? What worked for us, what didn't work, what we've kind of learned, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So when we first started doing it, we did a variety of approaches, either both of us together, Todd alone, or me alone. And we found what works best is to have Todd go in, so have the guy go in first and approach the girl. It's more likely that the sexual vibe will be there right away, whereas if I go in by myself, sometimes it's just like, oh, I like your shoes, I like your dress, we're friends, hee, right? And but it's very clear when he goes and talks to a girl that it's not about that. So that vibe is there right away. And then when he brings her over, she kind of understands what's going on much more quickly than if I bring a girl to him. The other thing is that
it also makes the divulging our relationship part less awkward.
Well, that was my next. That was my next thing. So a lot of times, girls figure out pretty quickly that we're together, and so they ask that question in a variety of ways. And we at first didn't really know how to answer that, so we were a little bit awkward and would say, "Oh yeah," and try, we just change the subject. But now we have a variety of ways that we indicate that we're together, but we don't act as if we're this lovey-dovey happy couple, because no girl wants to just come into that and be, that's not fun, that's not adventurous, that's like a couple taking advantage of a girl, right? Okay, you make whatever face you want.
Like it's a bad thing.
I know, but I'm just saying that it's not something a girl necessarily wants to be a part of. So we say partner in crime. We've used...
She gets me into trouble, that kind of stuff.
Right, troublemaker.
We're very close.
We're very, yeah. Or we've done the, this is my mom or my sister or
That's
whatever.
More for online.
That's more for online, right. But you want to downplay the fact that you're really in a serious relationship, because that's not fun. And then after that, I'm very talkative and very verbal, so I do a lot of talking. I try to get physical with a girl almost immediately. We had a situation. We had an approach last week, and I think a minute into it, I had already grabbed the girl's boobs, and because I can do that as a woman, and that's another thing that if you can tell your girl that she has so much more, she has all the permission in the world to do things that you just can't right off the bat. And so I try to get as physical as possible with the girl right away, and then I don't know, after that.
One thing leads to another.
Yeah.
Slippery slide.
Right.
Having sex.
Well, I mean, the hardest part is the open, and I wouldn't say the hardest part, but that is probably.
So the first big obstacle is the open. Second big obstacle is dealing with how do you know each other in a way that doesn't undermine your relationship, but also doesn't make it too boring and obvious, or make them immediately get rid of the possibility in their head of a threesome. And then the third and most difficult issue probably is logistics. Yeah, that's where, interestingly enough, threesome game is actually easier in terms of getting the girl attracted, easier in terms of having sex when you get her alone than one-on-one game is, by far. Easier to get attracted, way easier to deal with Elmar. The issue is, the issue is the friend. Well, because this is a walking comfort right here. This is one walking unit of comfort, right? You just bring her in, comfort is increased. And that's how it is with any girl to a girl, right? Girls feel more comfortable with girls. There's more trust there. There's also social proof, right? The fact that I'm already with a girl means I'm not a needy, desperate, chody guy, right? So all that's good. The big issue is logistics because the girl feels like she'll get judged by her friends. And it's a little harder because two girls together tends to make a bit of a scene. It tends to attract a lot of attention from the friends, and it's harder to just kind of like slip out by accident, that sort of a thing.
Yeah, we've lost girls because of that. Like, I don't think my friends would be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I don't think my friends would be cool with that, or they think I was weird. I mean, we had a girl tell us that flat out, and then it didn't go down. So.
Yeah. So we've pulled a lot in spite of that. Also, what we've started doing recently because of that is doing online. And then also we've occasionally started doing threesomes as dates, where we just take the girl's number, we text her and arrange the date later. And actually I'm lucky because this girl is probably the best text gamer on the planet. She's amazing. She's actually as good as I am at text game, plus she's a little more creative, plus she's a girl, so she gets it. So that helps really, really massively as well. Do you want to talk about the online and date stuff a little bit?
Sure. Just what exactly?
Just whatever your experience has been, any tips, that kind of stuff.
The online thing, we haven't done it that much. We've done in person a lot more.
Dabbled a little bit. Been really successful, which means we probably should dabble more.
We probably should dabble more. Yeah. I mean, it lacks the sort of spontaneity of going out and meeting a girl that night and bringing her home. Yeah. But it's
still fun.
Of course it's fun, but it does have I think a higher success rate.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, we're 2 for 2, and we've only tried twice, so and that's pretty good.
It's not bad.
But as far as that goes, I'm more upfront about the situation online than I am in person, and because a lot of times girls are like on Tinder, for example, girls who are looking for girls are probably more inclined to do something like that. And then your experience, you kind of get the girl into you, get the girl turned on, and then you bring me into it, and that's been successful as well. I've also found that you're more likely if you're looking, and we've sort of talked about this recently. If you're looking to get a girl who you want to see more than once, online is probably much better for that, because if a girl's on there and she's more inclined to do that sort of thing, or she's even looking for it, you'll find a third who will see you multiple times, right? And again, that also lacks the spontaneity a little bit, but it's like having a fuck buddy, but having a fuck buddy for both of you, and that's always fun.
Yeah.
So, as far as the dates go, I'm not really sure what to say.
Threesome,
what aspects?
how do we do the escalation on a date? How does just typically how does a date go down?
Well, I mean, you do all the other things that you would normally do on a date in game. Like you pick a place where you can sit close to the girl. You pick a darker, more intimate setting where you can talk. You don't want to go to a place that's really loud. Usually, what happens in that scenario is that I'm as the girl, I'm the one who has to take the physical lead. That seems to be. I don't know. That seems to be from my experience.
It's easier in the same way that you said you can grab the girl's boob in the first few minutes. It's the same kind of thing where the girl touching is less invasive than the guy touching. So interestingly enough, the girl can touch more liberally, and that helps get things warmed up. As far as the important escalations, like the kissing and stuff like that, I think if the guy's a little bit of a participant in that, or at least okay with it, and the deep sexualization, that definitely it's good for the guy to be a participant there, because you don't want to be the guy that's left out. You don't want to be the guy that's the chode boy that's just watching them make out all night. Right? I mean, not that that's bad. I mean, that's fine. Also, you should be kind of okay with it. You should be okay if that happens, but you should also do everything in your power to be involved and make sure that you are a continual participant.
Right. The other thing is that if you've already met a girl and you've gotten her out on a date, you've done a lot of hard work already, and you don't have to act super. You can go a lot more slowly. You don't act super needy. I mean, we should do that anyway, but you can really relax a little bit more on the date, and that helps a lot. That calms my nerves. It helps me escalate without feeling rushed or weird. And the other thing about the setting is that for a day too, a girl is going to know what she's getting herself into, what she's going to be a part of.
She's getting into herself.
She's getting into herself. Yeah. So you want to make her comfortable too. So taking her to a place that's a little more intimate and darker, right? You don't want her to feel like she's a spectacle, right? And that's very important too.
One other thing, logistically for the date, I said logistics doing pickup as a threesome is actually much more difficult. Logistics on a date with a girl is actually very, very easy because you have that trust factor. So as a guy on a date, I can have a good time with the girl, but I'm like a little worried, like, oh, is she actually going to come home with me? Will she go to the next place with me? But again, I have one unit of comfort, one unit of portable comfort right here, right? So because of that, I'm much more confident and comfortable that the girl's going to stay with us longer, not give like the bullshit girl excuses, like I need to go home, that kind of stuff. And also that she'll be a lot more comfortable venue changing because she's going to trust your girlfriend, even if she doesn't completely trust you. So on a threesome date, I'm thinking a lot more about just making the experience good and being patient than I am with, and I'm also much more willing to escalate before getting home logistically, because I'm much more assured, or I have a greater level of confidence that the logistics will actually happen. Because the big logistical issue from the club is the logistical issue of the friends. The girl herself, much, much easier. And also logistics, if you're doing pickup by yourself, being very close to the club or close to the venue you're going from matters a lot, because there's that whole like drive or cab ride or whatever where the girl's thinking what's going on here. Whereas with the girl guy, she's kind of already made that decision on a certain level. And so when you do get a yes, it's a stronger, more committed, more logical yes in a weird way. So she's more willing to stay with you for a half-hour car ride or go multiple venues or, miss some work and kind of acknowledge that it's going to happen. In fact, the first threesome we ever had, we were a little slow to escalate. And when we finally did, afterwards, the girl was like, what took you guys so long? Because she'd already like kind of made that decision. I mean, it is pretty obvious. The fact that there's two of you there, she already kind of knows what the deal is. And so you don't have to be so like overt about it.
Yeah, she actually said, oh, I love being the plaything when she found out. So that was nice.
Yes.
I mean, the thing you said about you don't have to plan to have the venue really close to your apartment. I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, we still try to do that. It does, make things a little bit easier. Then you don't have to wait for the fun to happen. I know as far as dates go, we usually pick something, we don't do food, obviously. It's just drinks, someplace, nice and intimate, kind of quiet. And that's exactly what we're planning to do tomorrow. So I'm not really sure what else to say about dates. Do you want to talk about what goes on in the bedroom after, like, during the date, that part of it, or not get to that?
Sure, I guess. I mean, generally, you share the work, right? So it's important that everybody escalate with everybody. That can happen gradually. You just want to create a sexual vibe. So if you can escalate with the third girl, the girl in question, the girl, whatever.
The third.
The third? If you can, okay, we'll call her the third. If you can escalate with the third, then that's always good. If your girlfriend can escalate with the third, that's always good. If there's one thing that's really good is if there's a little bit of escalation by either of you with the third and then you escalate with each other more, you're sort of establishing that vibe and that pattern of it just being very sexual. And that helps massively. And then just in terms of the bedroom, just like sharing it a little bit, being very patient, going back and forth, making sure everybody's involved. What you don't want, actually, to be fair, as the man, you're the only one who it's okay if you're not involved at a particular time. The girls are just going at it and you're not involved, that's kind of okay. But you don't want a situation where either girl is sitting out not being involved. That's very, very critical because, I don't know, they're needy and shit. I don't know. But yeah, no, you have to make sure, because as a guy, again, our attraction is more physical. It's less emotional. So we're not going to feel like an emotional dip that we were left out for a minute where we'd be like, oh, there's two hot girls in front of us. Okay, cool, I'm aroused. Whereas the girl, they're going to feel like emotionally that dip and they're going to maybe get in their head and that kind of stuff. Any other thoughts on that?
Trying to think. And one important thing is that, we keep talking about this girl as like a third and she's still a person.
Sure.
And you
even remember some of their names. Sorry.
I remember all of their names.
See, that's the difference between male and female attraction right there.
Yeah. No, but you and pick up, you talk about giving the girl a good experience, right? And so while this girl is coming in as a guest star into our relationship, into our, into our fun, we don't want to just like use her and play her and then that's it. We always both work pretty hard to make sure the girl has a good time too. Because I know there are situations, you know, I read a lot about relationships and having threesomes, and a lot of times the couple will both get off, and then the girl kind of feels like she just got used, and she's participating but not having as much fun. And I think you'll give that girl a better experience. She'll be more likely to come back. You know, we've had some girls we've seen again, and you know, it's the right thing to do to get that girl a good experience, because that girl might be your next threesome partner, and you want her to want to do it again. So you give the girl a positive experience. I think that's an important thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, leave her better than you found her. Make
exactly.
a world where threesomes will happen, because girls have loved the threesomes they've had. See, we're sharing. When we have threesomes and we share it with you,
sharing is caring.
Make it easier for you. You should do the same.
It's true, though.
It's very 70s, but yeah, it's true. All right. Cool. Any other final thoughts?
No, just I guess what we're working on now, so to speak, is well, at least what I'm working on now. I don't know if you seem to like this. Having a girl, not, you know, a third girlfriend, but like having a girl,
a regular,
yeah. Mm-hmm. And part of the fuck buddy. Part of the reason why we couldn't do that before is because we traveled a lot,
right.
and we would not be able to schedule a date the next week because you wouldn't be there. And now we're in the same city, mm-hmm. So obviously for most people, you live in one city, and that's a viable option for you. And I think it's a fun one to have a regular
threesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Not the worst
threesome
thing.
Buddy. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For having threesomes with me and sharing them with
no
the
problem.
boys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.